I'm Evie Saldana.
You can speak as loud as possible because we're using the mics on the computer and not the mics at the, so it's a lot of technology going on. Speak loud, speak proud, and let's hear you.
I'm Evie Saldana. Can I start? Thanks for calling this additional hearing and for the opportunity to comment on this budget. I'm here today to ask that you take action to cut the Providence police budget. Right now, the 2020 Providence city budget proposes nearly $88 million for policing. As a constituent of Ward 3, I'm asking that the City Council take a second look at this number, and then a third look at this number, and really consider whether that $88 million is best spent on policing. Colonel Clement's comments about policing during the initial budget hearing a few weeks ago about defunding the police suggested they're not actually using the $130,000 that they have requested for ammunition and firearms. He said, and I quote, "We haven't fired a single shot in a year," end quote. Police Union President Mike Amondi openly scorned the challenges the community is facing and seemed incredulous that people call the police for emergency services. To paraphrase Amondi, a crying 7-year-old isn't the police's job, and neither is the unresponsive man on the side of the road. At the same time, this is what people called emergency services for. If the police don't want to serve the community in this way, then let's replace them with someone who does. I've heard proposals from this committee not this committee, but from this council to put tax dollars towards social work degrees for police officers, and I cannot overstate my opposition to this. Social work should not become an arm of the carceral system. Amondi also mentioned that if their budgets were cut, the police department would cut their youth and mental health programs first. Holding community services hostage for police funding is a clear sign that the $88 million that is being proposed is being given to people who are not interested in serving their community. Moreover, this was an especially curious way of defending the police department in light of recent events. The young people of Providence successfully mobilized thousands of people to the streets over the last couple of weeks, and as a rejection of police presence in schools and the community at large. The Counselors Not Cops campaign, fronted by the Providence Student Union and the Providence Youth Student Movement campaign, demands that taxpayer dollars should be redirected to fund youth programs that are not filtered through the lens of law enforcement. During a global pandemic, what is needed most is effective health infrastructures, including access to affordable food, shelter, treatment, and other forms of community care. Interestingly, these services are also needed while not under pandemic conditions. What is not needed is more police funding for racial bias and sensitivity training, body cameras, or increased salaries to attract the so-called best people for the job. These are forms of procedural and performative accountability that have time and time again failed to deliver transparency, justice, and dignity for communities of color. What is necessary in this moment is a reckoning with the funding disparities between the police and other social institutions that actually do the work the police cannot and will not do. I hope that you and the other city councilors will will lead the way on rectifying this disparity. Community forms of care are possible when we stop allocating this money towards the police and actually invest it in services that people are asking for. To that end, I suggest the following. 1, fully fund and implement. I have more, I'll send them by email. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.